Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting, the show built to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey. As we dive into today's episode, lesson, whatever you want to call it, I'm just thrilled for the opportunity to chat with a very, very close friend of ours, Phillip Read. He's the Chief of Police for the Bridgewater Police Department in Bridgewater, Virginia. Phillip's been part of our Executive Leadership think tank for several years. I think this is the third year now, pretty much ever since he took the chief role in Bridgewater. And we've known one another for more than a decade at this point, and we just love every interaction we get to have with Phillip. And he's got a cool background. So without me butchering a whole lot of that, let me dig into, or just turn it over to Phillip and let him give an overview of that professional background and the overall experience in the industry, because it is some pretty cool stuff.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Just a brief overview. So I started out, I joined the military at 17 years old, and I was an Army infantry soldier in the Army National Guard, and went through 6 years with the National Guard and deployed to Afghanistan as well as Iraq during that time. And in between, I was going to school at James Madison University between deployments and so forth. And then graduated from JMU and immediately got a job with the Harrisonburg Police Department. I was there for 12 years in various different roles, including patrol, special operations, investigations, and commander of the SWAT team and patrol lieutenant when I left, and then took the job here as the chief of police for the town of Bridgewater. So it's been great. I've been here for 3.5 years. I was with Harrisonburg for 12 years, and I was in the military for 6. I guess I've got a couple decades of wearing a uniform. So luckily I don't have to pick out what I need to wear each day to work. So it's already there for me. So, but yeah, it's been a blessing as the years have gone by, as being able to protect and serve the community, and just kind of get into helping people here locally. So.
And Phillip, you do so many different things, and we'll touch on a few of those. I'll try to draw some of that out of you as we chat through this. Before we dig into the role, the organization, and so on, let's get really specific personally. You mentioned joining the military at 17 years old. And recently I tapped you on the shoulder and says, hey man, will you help me out with this? I'm about to move my book into the formatting and editing phase, and it's going to be published and so on. And you provided a piece for the Leading with Clear Purpose book that was specific. Do you mind recapping that for your clear purpose for accepting those roles of service, and more specifically taking on that leadership responsibility? Because in the roles that you've held, it's clearly not about the pay, because you could dig into private sector work and make exponentially more than what you have in the public facing, in the public safety world. What's been that purpose for you?
A lot of purpose. I mean, for the country, for the community, and just having that sense of being something bigger than me, being a part of that, and really helping people fix problems, solve problems, and help people in that regard. But even as a teenager, I was 19 the whole time I was in Afghanistan, where like I was a private, and even though you wear a different rank on your collar, that you can be a leader no matter what position you hold. And so the position is a title, or a title is a position, but ultimately you can lead others no matter what your role is. So there's always somebody watching, and there's always somebody wants to follow you, no matter if you're a colonel or a private. So, but yeah.
Phil, that's beautiful. I said the other day in a conversation like this with a friend of ours, I said that, hey, sitting in the garage doesn't make me a car, and having a title or position doesn't make me a leader. And you know, I mentioned the Executive Leadership think tank that you're a part of. We've been very intentional with that to make sure, hey, I don't care how big your organization is. I don't care if you're responsible for billions in revenue and thousands of employees. If you're a manager that's barking orders and cracking the whip, and you're not willing to serve the people that you're responsible to serve, you ain't coming in this group. It's not about the money. It's about the leadership. I love that you shared that. Now, you've had experience and opportunities to be involved in a ton of leadership development and training in different facets. What's really been that motivating factor for you in a lot of it, but specifically to getting involved in something that's more private sector oriented with us?
Um, so uh, I guess there's always somebody. There's always been opportunities for supervisor roles or rank as the years have gone on and on. And to me, like, why do I want to put in for, let's say, a corporal position or a sergeant or lieutenant or even the chief here? And to me, it's like, well, I could sit back and see somebody else take this role or take that role and follow them. And in some cases that would be just fine, but in other cases, it's like, well, if somebody's going to do it, I'm always the one. I like to step up to the plate and be like, well, I'm gonna try my best, and I'm gonna try to take on this type of leadership role and work with it. And you know if if you fail, you fail, but we can always just be honest with ourselves and strive for better going forward. So I've always just kind of jumped at the opportunity of leading different departments, leading different positions, and then trying my best from there. And so far, it's been great. I like leading others. I like to see, I guess, the fruits of your labor and seeing good work from many people, and just not, if I'm not, trying to teach or to give anybody help or advice or lead them. I just like to see that positive impact that multiple people that you influence have on others. So.
Yeah, I love watching the dynamic you've built within the team, specifically since you've been in Bridgewater, because I've had so much of a closer look at it, the team you've built around you, how much loyalty that team has to you, how much you guys as a whole serve the town of Bridgewater, and the community policing that you do, the level of service that you provide. It's not just about citations and arrests. It's about what can we do to make the entire town safer? How can we add value to the business owners? It's pretty wild. We'll talk about more of that coming up. Now, I do need to, before we go into that, though, kind of ask you and point out, I feel like we've developed a pretty solid friendship over the last several years. I alluded to that we've known one another for more than a decade, maybe approaching 15 years now. Why were you willing to, when I said, hey, will you be on one of these executive panels for the Leadership Legacy experience we're holding in June? Why were you willing to agree to that? And specifically on the one that's talking about how you help your individual team members connect their own individual purpose with the purpose of the organization you're leading. A lot of people would have said, no, Wes, I'm not getting in front of hundreds and hundreds of people to talk about that. Why did you say yes? Because I didn't twist your arm that hard.
No, I don't. I just felt like it was not only a good opportunity to put out there, some leadership lessons that I've learned, but to also learn from others. And whether I'm up on the panel or sitting in the audience, I can learn just as much as somebody in the audience. But I guess I agreed to it because I thought it was a good opportunity, as well as just that opportunity to see others in their leadership roles, and to just kind of learn from good and bad experiences that they've had, and to just try to be a better leader myself. So.
Well, we're incredibly thankful that you were willing to. I mean, I can say that for everybody that's part of the panels, because, at this point, we've got 3 panels, 5 folks on each panel. And that's aside from the amazing MC that you got to chat with a little bit a few days ago, Ben Kaufman, and with Mark Cole coming in from Maxwell Leadership. He owns the company. He travels all over the world, and he's going to spend that day with us. We're just over the moon blessed with, here's what we've been able to put together for the event. Now, changing gears a little bit, what would you like anybody ever accessing this to know about your team and what you guys do specifically in Bridgewater PD?
Well, we do a lot more than traffic enforcement. And a lot of times people, oh, police officer. And so they start telling me about their traffic stop that they've had and their experience with that. And yes, we do traffic enforcement. However, we respond to everything from domestic assaults to mental health calls to welfare checks to trespassings and property damages to violent crime, as well as not just response, but proactive policing, such as like going to businesses, helping them with crime prevention through environmental design. Like, oh, you need to have some lighting here, some cameras there, and you need to remove these bushes because it's a concealment spot, or whatever it may be. So we try to get out in the community to be proactive as well as reactive to crime in our area, but and just being there for the community with just helping them feel safe as well as be safe. So.
Well, and the reality is you have a tremendous amount of traffic. You've got a college, you've got one of the busiest stretches of a state road in all of Virginia with industry and all the different traffic that goes through there. So there's a ton. But I love that you said the proactive part, because is through the Executive Leadership Lead think tank, when you shared some of the pieces that you guys do, other business owners that aren't from your area say, well, I can assure you the police in our locality aren't doing what you're doing. And for me, it warms my heart to hear it, because I know how much you invest into it. I know how intentional you are about making sure that you're providing that level of service. So it's pretty cool. And, we've talked about it. I'm not sure that even everybody in the town of Bridgewater fully appreciates it. And I'm certain that a lot of folks outside don't have that experience in their own. So I look forward to you setting that high bar for other communities, but also as you have other opportunities in the future to set that high bar. So,
well, thanks. Yeah, we police not only the town of Bridgewater, but we actually, I just wanted to mention, we police the town of Mount Crawford too, where their police department. So, and Mount Crawford's growing, Bridgewater's growing, and we're about to actually open a 24/7 Sheets truck stop in Mount Crawford. So business is good, unfortunately.
Yeah, that won't bring any extra work for you.
Yeah, no.
So, now, you've done some really, really neat stuff. Bridgewater as a whole has always been very family, community oriented and so on. But since you've been chief in Bridgewater, you've implemented and helped, and your team as a whole, not just you, but your whole team, you guys have done some really community focused things that have driven strong results. It's had a strong impact in the community. Can you share about one or two of those that people may not know about?
Yeah, I have done a few different things over the years. I guess a few to name would be the Town Police Pact. I know that has been very helpful when we have events and so forth, parades, lawn parties, so forth, where we can get other towns' assistance because we're a department of 10 officers. We require more officers during certain times. So that gives a good memorandum of understanding, a MOU, between multiple towns across the county, as well as a few towns in Shenandoah, so in Page. So that's been great. We have a trespassing ordinance that business owners, if they want to take advantage of, that they can grant us the authority to trespass individuals in the middle of the night. If let's say they're not doing a crime, but they're milling around on their property at night, we can kick them off the playground at the school, or trespass them from a certain business or a church or whatnot. So as well as many grants that come available. I think I've been trying to keep track of it. I think we're about a 220. If I get this next grant that I just applied for, almost 300,000 in grant money for various projects, various equipment, and different things that bring good money, that we don't have to use the taxpayers' money, that we can use the grant money for some of the police supplies that we need. And yeah, what else? I've mentioned a few, but
yeah, well, another one, you're currently working to launch a foundation that
yes,
helps some of that.
Yep. But Bridgewater Police Foundation is in the works, and that's going to be very beneficial. Some community members are helping launch that to have a donation base, just like a fire department. The police officers could use some help too with just funding and so forth and different projects. That's exciting too.
Yeah, I'll circle back to the pact, the MOU you put in place with the other towns around the area, and the real driver behind that. Gosh, as you and I've interacted through that over the last year or two, was, hey, how can we resource ourselves without overtaxing the county that we're a part of? We've got small towns that have their own forces. The county has a finite amount of resources. So how can we work with one another without saying, hey, we need limited resources from you that you might not have enough of already? And it's been really cool to see how you've done that, and with the goal of not overtaxing the county that you operate within.
Yeah. Yeah. And the county helps, with a few deputies and so forth, but this is just an extra force multiplier when needed. And so that it's been great.
Yeah, that's been one of the most special things that I've seen, because not only is it providing an increased level of service to everybody that's involved in the lawn parties, the parades, and whatnot. When there's a more difficult situation, a crime situation, gosh, it's just as much about the safety of your officers and anybody else involved that you can have that access. So, it's
one other thing I wanted to mention. Just recently, we have been helping assist landlords with junk and abandoned vehicles. So tenants come and tenants go, and there's still vehicles parked everywhere, and we're trying to clean up the town. And this is a way in our town ordinance. I was able to locate a town ordinance with, that we can be an assistance even on private property. Let's say a landlord and they want to get a vehicle removed. We've worked with them, and we've gotten almost 10 vehicles removed. Some have been parked for, one of them was 13 years parked there. So it's good to see some of these vehicles even cleaned up. Obviously we police the public roadways, but we can help assist landowners, landlords get some of these vehicles off their property and help make it look better.
Well, that's why the council and the taxpayers in Bridgewater absolutely love you, because you're looking at ways for how can we make sure that we're providing service to you. We're not just looking at how do we increase ticket revenue.
Right. Yep.
Nicely done. Now, this one's fun because you've built an incredible team, and you don't do that without communicating a strong purpose. Can you talk about the purpose of the organization as a whole with the Bridgewater Police Department, and how it really aligned with your own values and purpose, and why you ever took the job to begin with?
Well, obviously the police department's purpose is, to protect and serve, plain and simple, but we have, we take into account our values with, professionalism, respect, integrity, dedication, excellence, and all those same values I have personally, to respect others, just as whether I've had everything from a homeless to elected officials, no matter who they are, what status they have in the community, to respect each one equally, no matter their race, religion, gender, it doesn't matter, to respect others. And that's my personal philosophy, to treat others with respect, as well as our police departments, to act professional, no matter if you're being a father at home or if you're being the chief out on the street, to be professional, to be respectful, to have integrity, even when no one's looking, to be trustworthy and honest. And I try to model those in my personal life as well as here at the police department. So all very, very, my purpose is to try to make this community better, just like my purpose at home is to make my family better and myself. So the same goes along the same lines. So, yeah.
And it's been fun to watch, because while there was a little bit of turnover early on, you've built an incredibly strong team. You've built your number twos, the guys that are right there ready to step in when you're out or whatever. You invest heavily into them. I know you've even helped coach them for, hey, if you want to apply for this role, I don't want to lose you, but I want to support you. I want the best for you. You've attracted some great people, and they're incredibly loyal to you through that process.
Yeah, we have a great team. It's a lot of great officers, and we have a great department that I'm very proud of. Yeah.
Yeah. And nationwide or even statewide, I see a lot of times where there's tremendous sign-on bonuses and positions go unfilled, not just in law enforcement, but in a lot of different positions. But what I've seen across all industries is the companies that develop, or the organizations, not just companies, the organizations that develop the culture and really have that clear purpose, those strong values in place, they typically have people saying, hey, when you've got an opening, let me know. Might be a good fit for me. Maybe I want to join your team. And you've certainly had that in the 2 or 3 years that you've been in Bridgewater, right?
Yeah, we're fully staffed, which is great. And if and when the opening comes, I hope to fill it pretty quickly.
Yeah, you often have those folks reaching out beforehand and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Chief, let me know when you've got an opening."
Yeah.
That's pretty cool to have too. Now, what advice? This isn't just for law enforcement, but it could be for law enforcement specifically, but for any aspiring young professional that they're looking to grow in their leadership role, they're looking to take on more, they're advance in their careers. What advice would you give them?
I've had many great leaders as well as poor leaders, and you can always learn from both of them, and some in between. But the best advice I can give is be the example. Be the example that you expect from your leader, that you've already displayed it yourself, and expect a higher standard than what you believe that you can even do. Always striving to just be a better leader, a better coworker, and others will see that in you, and you'll rise up through the ranks or rise up in leadership or supervisory roles. And if you are constantly being the example on duty as well as off duty, it'll benefit you very much in your career and life. And if you're ashamed of something that you're about to do, then don't do it. So, yeah.
Well, you mentioned your family, and the reality for anybody in law enforcement, anybody wearing a uniform, is there's no such thing as an off day, right? And when you've got kids, that's exponentially important. I mean,
Yes, with a wife and four children, I've got a busy household at home too.
So, Phillip, what have I not asked you that you'd like to make sure that's included? We started doing these as how do we promote the event? How do we provide a little bit of extra visibility to our executive panelists and the folks that we have such great working relationships with? And we've realized, hey, on that panel, you'll have 5 or 10 minutes total throughout the question and answer and the piece that you share. There's so much more value that you can add. So what's anything you'd like to share as we wrap this up?
I guess if leading with a clear purpose it's a great point to kind of focus on, because without purpose, I deal with people a lot of times that don't have any purpose in their life. And no matter if them personally, their purpose or their purpose for their job, their role that they're in, you really try to define that purpose in your own personal life, whether it be a spiritual purpose or other types of physical purpose or purpose for, serving others or whatever you define as your purpose. If you have that goal, you will always strive to be better in that. And I think it's a very, very important principle before you can even start establishing some leadership and some goals and so forth. It's like, what's our purpose? What's our mission in this, what we're currently trying to accomplish? So I like that. I have purpose that me personally that goes beyond this world, that religious, my faith. And I think that purpose has driven me in everything that I do. So.
Indeed. And hey, the reality of any level of leadership is going to come with a lot of hard days, hard decisions,
Yes.
hard work.
And questioning, like, man, is this worth it? You're going to have those days.
And without the purpose, that answer might be no.
Mm-hmm.
When that purpose is clear enough and you keep it in front of you, that answer is always going to be yes, it absolutely is worth it. Maybe not in that moment, but in the big picture, in the eternity part, it's worth it. So, Phillip, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you've got a tremendous talent of people that are dependent on you, so I won't keep you any longer than necessary. Thank you for doing this with us today. And most importantly, thanks for your friendship and being willing to be part of the executive panel for the upcoming Leadership Legacy experience on June 13th.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. So if you're accessing this and you need continuing education credit, specifically in the HR community, but in others too, send me an email at admin@dove-development.net. I'm happy to hook you up with an all-access 45-day trial to our Leading at the Next Level full program. Gosh, I think it's got more than 160 hours of resources in the digital package, and we put new lessons into that monthly. We typically share those live on Zoom or whatever platform we can get to work in that given day. Typically it's Zoom, but yeah, we'd love to hook you up with that if that's something that adds value. We appreciate checking in with you today, and we look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully at the Leadership Legacy experience. Make it a great day. God bless.